Okay, hi there. This set of lecture videos, we will look at string data type in Python, and how do we go about doing various things on a string. So the previous lecture, you see that if you have a variable such as my age, right, there is a number, there's an integer, there's a whole number variable, right? You can also have something like my pay, which is, let's just say it's a decimal, and that is called a float, a floating point number, or in other languages sometimes called a double as well, right? So it's just Python has one type, so that's what it is. What we're looking at in this one in depth is what is called, I'm just going to call it my string, right? And we're looking at string variables. So string variables, it means a sequence of characters. So you see I'm typing a whole bunch of stuff on my keyboard. Whatever you can type on the keyboard, as long as it's in a quote, right? As long as it starts with a quote, ends with a quote, and anything you got in the middle is a string, right? Now, don't get confused. I can even have, these are numbers, right? These are numbers, but when I put a single quote in the front and the end, this turns into a string data type, okay? And I think the way we can check this is this. So I'm not sure, I'm not even ready for this, but let me try. So if I want to print my str, that will print that value, and I can also say print give me the type of my str, right? So that means tell me the first line of code is going to basically output whatever I have sitting in that variable, and then the second line of code is going to tell me what kind of data is sitting in there. So let me run this, and you will see it tells you that, hey, that it looks like a number, right? But it's a string. And then the other output tells you that it's a string. So if I take that out, if I take the single quote out, you will see it will basically tell me that it's an integer, right? You see how the type changes because I had a single quote in there. So that is the, remember, that's the difference between having a string in having a, any other data type. Today is Monday. Let's just put Monday here. And, since you have seen this, I don't need to have that on there at all. So one of the methods that string provides, right? So the cool thing about string is that now in Python, you can have, like I said earlier, you can use a double quote as well, but I just don't. I mean, it's confusing. Sometimes you can use a double quote, sometimes you can use a single quote. I just use single quote altogether in Python. Other languages, such as Java or something like that, you will need to use a double quote, right? Double quote, right? So there is that. Now also in writing code, sometimes let's just say, now I'm going to copy something from the, I'm just going to copy something from the web, and I'm looking for Python history because I want to show you something, Python history, right? I want to show you something. So I'm just copying something just for this educational purpose. It's okay to copy and paste. And I got a whole bunch of text here, right? And then I'm going to bring it here, and let's just say Python history, right? Maybe that's too long of a variable name, but regardless. Right? So you see, this line of code, right? It's got all. I mean, it's got various mixture of text, right? I wonder if I could do like a word wrap. Expand on format. I would assume there's a word wrap. There's none. None. So and what word wrap does is basically it allows me to, instead of text having to run to the right, it allows me to put it down. So what I can do here, I can put some enter keys, right, like that, and then I can put some more enter keys here, put a carriage return, right, in that way. At least all my text is kind of in front of me, right? I hope everybody's following what I'm trying to do here, right? And let's just take this out. This doesn't even matter. I'm going to take it out. Take this out as well, right? Okay, so now how do I declare this is a string, if I put a single quote there, you see, even me putting a single quote, it does not read all of these as a string because it's too long, right? So in this case, where you have a multi-line string, you have to put two more here, two more of this single quote and two more right there. Now the whole thing is looked upon as a string. You see how everything is green, right? However, if I had just one line, single line, then I can use single quote each place, and then that will just work okay for me, right? Now, so the whole string, right? It's quite neat. Is that you see this sentence, which is a string here, can be referenced. Each of these characters is stored in the memory at a location. All right, it's stored in a location, and the very first character is stored at location 0. So what I mean by that is, if I want to print something, I'll watch this, right? My str, and I want to access what is stored at location 0, right? Put 0 here, just like that, square brackets and 0, right? Square bracket and 0, and likewise, at the same time, I can do print my str square bracket. Let's just put 10, right? What is stored at position 10? When I say position 10, I'm talking about index 10, right? And the proper terminology to use here is index. Now, running this, it should give me, oh, why do you think I got an error, right? Python is very mindful of spaces because spaces mean something, right? You said space, that means something. So you got to make sure that all your text starts on the beginning and there's no indentation type of thing. You will see when we do the conditional loops and all that comes into play a lot. Okay, so now you see if position 0 is a T, which is that T, right? If position 0 is a T, that one should be at 1, right? So I'm going to change that to 1. Run this again. See that? It gives me a 0. And apparently, maybe that is index 10 as well. That's why it's giving me a 0 as well. So with that said, you can access each character of a string using a index as shown, right? So this one basically gives me this gives what character is at index 1. Remember, the index in this string starts at 0, right? Okay. Other thing, how do you find the length? The length print. You can simply say, this is easier one. You can simply say length, and right, length, and then put what is it? My str, right? That will give you the length of it. I can also say print length of Python history is, right? And watch what I'm going to do. I will use the length formula, the length method rather, and here I can put Python history, right? So running both of them, that will give me the length of the string, right? You see, it's giving me 15 is the length of today's Monday, and then 320 is the length. Length means how many characters are there, right? Length means how many characters are there, right? Now, so the MyStr, it has 15 characters, right? And you think, hey, since it has 15 characters, I want to access the very last element. Why can't I just put 15 here, right? It has got 15 characters. I want to access the very last element. I'm going to put 15. And when you go ahead and run this, you will get an error. It will say a string index out of range. That means that value does not exist, right? Can you guess why it does not exist? It does not exist is because that starts at 0. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, right? So when you are accessing the string using a subscript in that manner, right, you always wanna, the last element is the length minus 1. All right, length minus 1. Okay, so that is that. Now, other thing you can do, also you can do something like, you know, if you want to check if a string is if a smaller string is in the whole sentence. So what I mean by that is that you can say print major, right, in Python history, right? So that means print if oh, double quote. Why did I put double quote here? Print if major is in Python history. So run this piece and you will see it gives me okay, why, oh, it's giving me error on this one. So I'm going to change this, maybe make it 13, right? It was giving me error on that line of code. All right, see, it gives me a true, which means, right, is this text in this text, right? Is this text sitting in the text which is in this variable, right? So that's how you check that piece as well. All right, so that is basically, you know, strings, various things about a string. I'm going to take this out. I think you know, we're kind of following, you know, this thing already. Well, let me keep this one, right? I mean, we have seen the length, we have seen, let me keep this other piece. All right, so now, since that line of code right there, it gives me a single character at that index, right? What you can do, you can all kind of move that around, and it's called slicing. So, you know, Python brings a lot of methods that you get that can be sliced. You know, slicing means slice in the string, right? And I'm going to say here, well, it started at 0 and give me 4, right? So let's just see what comes up. Okay, I'm going to run this. Right, output is TODA. That means start at position 0 and give me 4, right? Give me 4 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And I can say start at number 9 and give me 4, or give me 2, right? Start at number 9 and give me 2, right? So run this one, you see. Very interesting. Why is it empty? Is there like a 2? No, that's 1. Position 2. Oh, I know why. I know, right? And the reason is because this is wrong, right? I was thinking of something else, right? What it means is that you start at position 9 and go till 12, right? Now watch what happens now. Yeah, I was thinking something else, right? So start at position 9, which is right here, right? 9, 10, 11, right? And 12 would be day. So it does not include the 12th value, all right? So that means slicing means here, start at index 9 and go to index 12, but do not include 12. All right. So basically, if I said, hey, just give me the day, right? Just give me the day here, right? Just give me that text. So you will do something like print my str. All right. And so what index does the day start at, right? It starts at 0, 1, and 2. So D starts at 2, and it goes to 2, 2, 3, 4, right? So if I put 4 here, it will not be right, because remember, 4th index is not included, right? 4th index is not included. So you watch, oh no closing, let me put the closing parentheses. If I go ahead and hit run again, it will give me DA. But so I need to include the 5th, number 5 here. Then it knows. I mean, I don't know why it was done like that. It kind of makes sense to include the last. I mean, if I'm starting it here, I should be including that as well, right? But I mean, the creators of Python, I'm sure they had a good reason for not doing something like that, right? So here is going to start at index of position to index 2, and and go in 2 to 4, right? Because it does not include 5. All right, other things you can do, you can say mystr. When you put a colon like that, that means start at the beginning, right? You start at the beginning and just end at 10, right? Instead of you putting 0, you just say start at the beginning and give me 10, right? All right, it gives me that. You can also do something similar and say, start, right? You can also do something similar and say something like, right, so I'm going to write something that, start at beginning and go to index 10, right? Now, same thing I can do is print mystr, all right? And in this, I can say start at 5 and go to the end, right? So this means, right, start at 5 and go to the end. See that? Start at 5 goes to the end. And then other piece that comes into play here is you can also do print mystr. You can put a negative number here, right? So that means I can start at, when I say -5, that means start from -5 from the back, right? And go 3 positions forward, right? So let's just say that'll be -1, that'd be -2, that'd be -3, that'd be -4, that'd be -5. So I believe it's going to start at right, -5. Okay, let's just run and see what happens, right? Let's just run and see what happens. Okay, it does nothing. And the problem is because it's starting at -5, right? I'm saying it started at -5, which is here, and I'm saying go to 3, right? And there is a problem. But if I say start at -5 and go to -3, right? That whenever you put minus, that means you're talking from the reverse. See that now it gives me a value. So -5 is here, right? -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And I'm saying go to -3. So it's going to start at O, -1, -2, -3. So that's why it has ON as an answer. Right? Pretty cool, huh? Right? You can do that type of thing. So this is basically when you use a minus, that means start from the end, right? Start from the end or reverse. All right? So that is that. And then also other things you can do is you can say print mystr upper. All right, make everything upper. On the same notion, you can say mystr dot lower. Right, give me everything that's lower. Right, and you can guess what that is. Okay, you can also do something like now let's just assume that this string, it has some spaces at the end, right? You don't see it, but it's there. See those empty spaces? It's there, and you can do something like print mystr dot strip. Strip means remove white spaces from the end. All right. So if I run this one, you watch what happens. It creates, you don't see, but there is some white space at the end. But look at this one, upper, right? It changes everything to uppercase. It changes everything to lowercase, right? So that's really cool stuff too. Okay, other things you can do with a string is you can say print. I want to do a mystr dot replace. What do you think dot replace does? It finds something and replace something. So in here, I want to find O, right, and replace with a big Z, right? Actually replace with an @ sign. All right. So that means here find O and replace with @ sign. All right, very well right there. Replaces that. And then other methods that I have used a lot is, now look at, watch this one, right? There is a print. And the reason I'm using print all over the place is because, you know, this code right here, all of this code, it gives an output, right? It gives an output, and basically I want to show you that output, right? And sometimes you may not have to use print, but in this case, the reason I'm putting everything in print is because I want to show you that output. All right, my str.split. What is it that dot split does? In dot split, you have to provide what do you want to split the string with. So I'm going to say space, right? And the reason I'm saying space is because there's space here, right here, there's space here and here. All right, and what it's going to do is going to split the string based on a space. See that? It split the string into three, actually 3 and 4, but regardless, right? It's split it and it puts it into like a thing called a list. Right now, if I wanted to split this bigger, the other string that I had, so I'm going to change that. That would be Python history.split, and instead of spaces, I want to split by. There are some periods there. I'm going to put a period there, right? Stop, full stop, period, and now you see what output it brings. See that it split a lot of it. Everything that has a comma, there's a split, right? It is split the whole thing based on a period. And in this text, there are a lot of period here. That's one right there, all kinds of stuff. Okay, now let's just say slicing is pretty cool. Let's just say you have a string. So I'm going to say my str. Now I'm going to say str1. Watch this. When I say str, you see how it changes the color to like a purple. That means that is it's a keyword. It's a Python keyword that you don't want to use just like what I'm doing. All right. So you can put str1 now. That is usable, and I can say here this is hello. str2 equals world, right? And then if I want to join them together, or basically concatenate or join, right? Python makes it very easy. You simply say str3 is equal to str1 plus str2. But watch what happens. Print str3. What do you think will happen? When it joins it, there will be no space in the middle, right? It's going to say hello world without a space, but we want a space. So you can also put a single quote here with a space and do something like that, right? In that case, that will go and print the way we want it to print, right? Yeah, it's fairly straightforward when you're trying to, print strings in that manner. All right, let me think what else. That is good. Oh, the other one that is neat as well. Excuse me. So if you want to, there will be a need for you to, print, output a set of, a text with special characters in it. What I mean by that is maybe a double quote. Maybe you have a double quote in there, right? And that double quote, right? So I'm going to run this and see what happens, right? My str. Instead of that, I'm going to print my str. Okay, so you watch, right? It prints double quote, right? What if I want to print single quote here? And what if I want to have mundane single quote? Right? See, the text is like a black, it's changed its color. So that means you probably will get an error when I run this. See that? It says invalid. And in these cases, what you got to do, you have to use what is called an escape character, right? You have to put like a backslash like that, and you have to put a backslash in front of it as well, right? So that means you have used escape character. All right. Now when I run this, it will read that as a literal and it will print it out as it's supposed to be. But it will not print out the backslash. See that? It has Monday in single quote. All right. Excuse me. All right, so that is backslash. Now the other one, this other couple of things is good for you to know. When you have a text, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take this out, right? There's some other escape characters that we can use, and one of the ones that is very common is today's Monday, but tomorrow is not Monday, right? The other character that the other escape character you can use is \t. Right? Any place the Python sees \t is a tab, right? And then there's a tab, and there is a \n, right? \n is a new line. So watch what happens when I hit the run button here. You see how there's a space, right? That's a tab, and I want to put another tab. I want to put another tab right there. So 2 tabs, and I want to put another new line. New line means it's an enter key, it's a carriage return, right? It creates like an enter key. You know how you press enter key in a Word or a Notepad? It puts your sentence down. So that is what's happening here. It's got 2 tabs, all right? And then there is an enter key here which puts Monday down on its own. So these 2 are, there are more special characters, but these 2 are some things that we commonly used. All right. Okay. The other piece that also goes with string. Oh, there's a lot of them. Okay, let's just start with. Okay, I'm going to remove all this, at least the backslash stuff out, the escape characters out, because then we'll have a cleaner string to look at, right? And then we have all of this stuff, at least for now. Okay, what if we want to search for something and see if it exists in our initial string? So you say variable name.find. All right, variable name.find, and I'm looking for but, right? And see what it gives us. What do you think it's going to give us? It's supposed to give us a number. And the number means that that the text we're looking for is going to start at index 16. So that is 0, that is 1, that is 2, that is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 starts at 16 is the but, right? So that's what it means. All right. So and that is how basically you find stuff in it. You can also say, I'm looking for, instead of this, so you're trying to find a text, right? You can also do a print so let me do it. I'm going to say right, find where is not, all right, and then whatever the value is, put it in this variable. Then I'm going to print that variable. All right, you can also do that. So basically I'm not printing the whole thing in one line. I'm kind of using an extra step here just to make you, just to show you that that you can store the value somewhere else, right? You don't have to print it out each time. So now, what if I want to look for? I'll look for an O, right? There are many O's here, but I want to say that, hey, I want to look for O, but start at index 10, right? So that means find first occurrence of O from index 10, right? So that one should be what? Okay, so that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and my answer was 10. I'm not sure how. Maybe it says from here, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me change this. I'm going to change this to 11 just to maybe my 10th one is the O, and that's why it's finding the 10th one. Okay, 21. That makes sense. So now I'm saying find me the first occurrence of an O after the 11th character, not 11th, the 11th 11th index, right? Okay, so that is that. And you can also say something like, find O between 11th character, 11th index, and 20th index. Let me just make it 19. Make it. I'm not sure if I have 9. 15 is there, right? And then you see now that what it does is that it looks for what you're looking for between these two indexes, right? Between these two positions. And if it does not find it, it gives you a -1, right? It gives you a -1. So I'm not sure why 15. This is, I think, 10. That would be 15, and maybe 20th comes down here. What if we look for U, right? U, I think you should be in there because the but has a U. Right? 17 character is right there. All right, so that's some stuff on finding and all that, right? Other things you can do here, you can say print, well, I want to know how many my str dot count, right? I want to find out how many O's are there. Okay, and that's going to give you, remember, anytime you have a open parenthesis on the left, you need to match it with a closing parenthesis on the right, right? Anytime you have an open here, you have to close it with a closing. It needs to match all the time, right? It needs to always match. So then you see it gives me a 7 because there are 7 O's in the whole string. However, I want to start at 15, right? Count from 15 forward, right? Not the whole string, but count from index 15 forward. It gives me a 5, right? Well, I want count from 15 to 20, right? From index 15 to index 20. Tell me how many O's are there. All right, 0. So you see, you have a lot of flexibility in figuring out how to how to do various things with the string, right? Various things with the string. Okay, you can print. So other thing I want to, so this is, you're counting, basically you're counting how many. The other one that also is, I think, is fairly cool is this one. If you want to print the string in reverse, right? My str dot if you want to print the string in reverse, you use a 2:, and put a -1. All right, that is how these guys created it. So this will print the string in reverse. It will return the string in reverse, I think. See that? It flips the string into reverse just by using a 2:, and a -1. So if I asked you to say, hey, there are strings like, it's called a palindrome, right? Palindrome is a string that whether you read it from the front to the back or the back to the front is still the same spelling, right? And you can print it out this way to see how is it looking when you do it in reverse, right? So that's basically how a string is. All right. And at any point you need to figure out, if a string has a method. I mean, you can. There are a lot of tutorials out there on various methods that is available with a string, right? Various, and you can always use them to, at least this gives you a very basic startup, right? It gives you a direction of how you can how you can do various things in it. All right, that is that. Let me see if I'm missing something important, at least for now. Right, we looked at all the slicing. I think slicing is a really cool thing that Python invented that nobody else is using. Sorry about my cough there. It shouldn't be part of the lecture, but I've had this for a couple of weeks now, and it's several medication tried, and hopefully one of them will kick in and say, okay, I can fix this. All righty, so string methods, that is so far I think it's looking pretty good. And at any point, okay, so let me tell you this one. I think this is important. So strings in Python is immutable, right? Immutable. That means, it cannot be changed, right? It cannot be changed. So this is what I mean. I have my string there, my str is equal to that. I'm going to say, hi there, how are you? Single quote. And you will say, hey, professor, you just told me strings cannot be changed, and you're changing it, right? So I'm going to print this out just to show you what's going on, right? And you're saying, but you're using the same variable. I mean, are you playing a trick here or what? So if I say strings are immutable, it cannot be changed, then I should not be allowed to do this, because here I'm changing it, am I not? But no, what happens is that it beautifully prints both of them. That means the string was changed, right? Actually, no. What has happened is that when you set a text such as that to a variable, right, I can reuse that variable. That's what I'm doing here. I'm reusing that variable and I'm putting something else to it, right? I'm not changing this at all. Whatever was there is gone already, right? I'm not changing the string at all. I'm just assigning a new string to that variable. So the variable is changing, right? So now watch what happens. If I can do something like this, I can do print my str, and I say, hey, give me whatever is at the beginning of the string, put at index 0, and that's going to print h, right? It's going to print that text. Right? However, if I want to change that, you would think I can do str index 0, right? Put z there, right? Now, what I'm doing here is that I'm actually trying to change that t to a z. All right, I'm trying to change that. And this will basically give you an error and say, you cannot, object does not support assignment, right? I cannot go in the middle here and say I want to change this Monday to a Wednesday in this string, right? So that is the whole concept about string is immutable. That means you cannot, once it's created, you cannot replace or change any of the characters to it. You can reuse the variable to something else. That's not a problem. That will work without any problem, right? So now let's just say I just thought of something. I think it'd be cool to know. My str. Let's just say my str here was James Bond, Mr. Bond, right? Mr. Bond. And then you basically, I wanted you to print first name, last name with a space. All right. Because if I print this, if I print this, it's going to look, it doesn't have a space in the middle with the first and last name. So I'm going to say print my str. All right. And you know what's going to happen. It's going to print the same thing. But how do I go about splitting this so that I can put a space in the middle? You can do a couple ways. First thing you can do, I can say print. Well, I'm going to use a variable, first name. I got to pause this so I can cough. All right. First name, and I can say my str. All right. First name, and I'm going to use a slice. Slice from position 0, which would be J, right? And then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So from J to 5. You see that? Right. That'll be my first name. And then last name, I can say my str. That'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it'd be 6. 6 to the n, right? So this would be characters from index 0 to 5. And this would be characters from index 5 to the end, right? And then if I print these out, F name, L name, see that? How it separates the the string with the, how it broke the string into two, right? By using a slicing technique, right? Now, the other way you can also do that, is this. Instead of you slicing, let's just say the whole string is, it's a big string, a whole bunch of stuff here, right? Whole bunch of stuff here. And you don't know what position this is on. If it's a huge paragraph, you are not going to count 500 indexes, right? So what you're doing here is that I can do something different. Right? I can find the, right? We know this will not work because I don't know where the B starts, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the index. Actually, let me call this L index as in last name index, right? Index is equals to my str dot find. So I'm telling it to find the letter B, right? Letter B. And once it finds letter B, the index of it, then I know that I can simply do something like L name is equal to my str, use the slice method, right? I'm going to say start at L index and go to the end. Right? Everybody understands? Right? This will give me, the index of where B is, right? I don't know where it is. And when I find that value, I'm going to put it in that variable, right? And then I'm going to use the slice formula and put that variable right in there, which means start at that index and go to the end, right? So let's see if that fixes it or if there is a problem. Excuse me. Right, so that looks good too. All right, so that is most of the string methods that I can share with you. This is not enough though, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more. And at any point you want to find more, you just go and search on the web and say Python string methods, right? Python string methods. There's hundreds out there, I think. But hopefully this will help, in some way, just to get you moving and get you some ideas of what, what a string is. All right, that is cool. Oh, the other thing before I finish, I should mention to you is sometimes, right, sometimes you you may have to format, right? You may have to format string based on different things. So let me show you. Let's just say you have an str1, all right, a string variable one, and here, if you want to format in a different variety, you can use these curly brackets, right? And you can put here such as 0, and I don't know, put a Python string format. I believe there's a let me see what is the Python string format for an integer. Python string format integer. I believe it's maybe a D. Normally D is what's being used. Right? I think it's a. Let me look really. I don't wanna confuse here my notes. Alrighty, here we go. So if you want to format, let's just start with something that you would definitely use. You definitely use like a float, and float in Python or other languages is a number that has got a decimal, right? It's got a number that's got decimal, and basically you can use something like so the way I have liked this, right? Let me show you. And the reason I like this is because it's always worked well for me. Maybe you want to print something, right? You want to print, and in here, normally we would put some line of text, right? What you can do, Python allows you to put, I'm going to put some variables here too. Let's just say my pay, right, equals to, all right? And then in here, Robert, all right? So watch what happens. I can do single quote, right? And then I can put a n%, right? And then I can put some other things too. So what that means is that, so this is a little tricky. I don't think we have talked about it in our lectures before. This allows me basically to format, various things in different ways. It's really good to know this method too. So here I can put a %d. That means %d basically means a integer, right? That an integer would be that a number, an integer would be sitting in there. Then you have a %s. S means a string value would go here. Then you have a %f, right? That means it's a float. And I'm going to make this some more numbers here just to show you that what's happened. Right. And then you have an n%, and then you have this parentheses, and inside that parentheses you put 3 values. My hours, right? My name, and my pay, right? So what you have to pay attention here is that if you have 3 of these m% symbols, you need to have three values or 3 variables here, because each one of those in that order would be replaced with that n%, right? So the cool thing about f is that you can put 0.2f. That means give me 2 decimal places, right? And when I go ahead and hit run on this line, oh, Robert is not declared because it needs to be in single quote, right? You see that how it changes the whole text to 2 decimal places, right? I can even say 1 decimal places, right? And that will change it. So in most cases, whenever you're dealing with a floating amount or a money amount, decimal amount, right, you want to use this kind of print statement, so it gives you the flexibility to control how many decimal places you output. All right, and so this has worked really well for me. I like this method, really well. All right. Now, the other thing you can also do, which I'm not a big fan of, by the way, but you can also do something like this right here, single quote, and then you inside that you use a curly bracket, put position 0, right? Space, curly bracket, position 1, and then curly bracket, position 2. Here you can put a what's a dollar sign? Dollar sign is right here. I forgot to put a dollar sign right there too. But the reason I love this is because I don't have to use a comma. I don't have to use a single quote. Everything could be just written. I could write anything here, right? I can say, I walked. Watch what happens, right? Hours, right? You see how I have formed the string, without using a plus or a comma or anything like that. Everything becomes in one string, right? Likewise, when you use a format, right, this other formula, right, what you got to do here is you can use a format, and you can put okay, whatever I got there. Print is my pay, right? What's my pay? Oh, my hours. I'm sorry, my hours, right? My name, my pay. I believe I'm missing a closing parentheses. All right, format expected at most 2 arguments. It got 3, right? Format expected at most 2 arguments, but got 3. So what is it referring to? Oh, I wonder, I'm missing my dot here, right? No, format. So yeah, let me figure this out. All right, looks good to me though. All right, it turns out I had a silly mistake. I had a comma here, right? And in this case, take out the comma, and then you can basically use that. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of this formatting at all. I love this kind of formatting because it allows me a lot of flexibility. Plus, I have been, I've used this in C programming languages a lot, and even Java and other ones use it too. So hopefully this helps with some string and how to format things together. All right, well, good luck, and I will see you all on the next lecture.